Oh, welcome back, everyone, to American Blues Podcast. First of all, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Hopefully, everyone had a great time with their families or just relaxing, enjoying by yourself, loved ones, partner, whatever it may be, kids. We certainly had a great time. Parents are here, hence the slightly different setup. But, still got to enjoy part of the game this morning. But overall, man, yeah, this is why this team is a little bit too young and not ready for a title fight, because there were some just basic mistakes. I think from the manager down, we just need a little bit more experience in closing out games like this. I thought starting lineup looked great, kind of what I expected. The only question was, is Neto going to play or is Madueke going to play? And I did think Madueke has showed a lot today, but then you could tell why Neto was starting today. He had a lot to do on that right side, basically sprinting up, sprinting down, marking Robinson. Every time we were in attack, he had to be high up. Every time we were in defense, he had to sprint back and help Malagusto double mark Robinson. So it was a tough job for him, really tough afternoon. And until I would say like the end of the second half, where I didn't even necessarily think he really should have been on the pitch still. Maybe Madueke would have been better with fresher legs. Really didn't have too much luck on that right side. But overall, I thought the first half we started off really well. Started from the front foot. We were at home, created several good chances. 15 minutes in, Cole Palmer gets the ball in the middle of the field, wide open. He beats three players, easy left-footed finish into that corner. Leno had no chance. I thought, oof, man, he's back on. Amazing game. But then as the game went on, Palmer had he looked hesitant, There were several good runs that Jackson was making that he just pulled his foot on, didn't pass quickly enough. There were several times where he had poor touches himself and would lose the ball in good positions. But overall, he still had an impact on the game. He could have had an assist. Enzo especially should have an assist. First half, free kick on that right side. Enzo, perfect swinging cross in. Cucurella was waiting, just one-on-one with the keeper. He could have headed that ball anywhere, and it would have been a goal. But unfortunately, he headed it straight at Leno, and he made a save. And even in the dying moments of the second half, I think it may have been a Cole Palmer cross. Cucurella, same thing. Oh, no, it was a Neto cross. Cucurella came in on the back post. Again, open header. And this time it was even worse than header. He hit it straight into the defender. I think if the defender weren't there, the ball would have just gone straight out. Would have missed the goal completely. And then, of course, the ball bounced to Sancho, who tried his best, took a shot. And then, unfortunately, Leno saved. And then even better save by Leno. I thought this game was just another incredible game by Leno. He had one great save, top left corner by Enzo, who was kind of free right outside in the middle of the box. Took a really nice curling right-footed shot, just heading for that corner. Leno, fingertip save, lifted over the bar. And probably the best save was at the very, very, very end of the game, where amazing cross-field cross to the back post where Nkunku was there. He took a crazy mid-air scissor kick. The ball was bouncing. It bounced off the turf, and Leno somehow got a hand to it and pushed it around the corner. When that happened, I was like, oh my God, it's just not our day, unfortunately. But yeah, good on Leno, good goalkeeping. But honestly, several good chances that were completely wasted. Besides Cole Palmer's one moment, I did think he had kind of a weak game. But I do want to shout out Neto. I thought he had a tremendous amount of work to do on that right side, just constantly sprinting up, sprinting back into defense. And he was able to keep Robinson quiet. It will be quiet, even though they did have several times where they either beat Malagusto in midfield or beat Neto. They somehow still managed to get back on a position, or we were able to rely on our defense to cover and head out crosses. So that was good on them. I thought Sanchez had a really good game up until the final kick. Oh my God. Sanchez, man. He gives and he takes, right? Like, he made several incredibly key saves. He had one against Robinson where he was just free on that far post. Again, we're leaving two players on mark on the far post. And Sanchez came out quickly, made himself big. Robinson couldn't get a shot on goal. Great save. But then, of course, in the dying moments of the game, in the dying moments where we needed to keep possession, it was still 1-1. The last thing we needed to do was to give up the ball in a terrible position. And now we're facing a quick break. And Sanchez, it was a free kick from goal, essentially. He had the entire pitch to aim at. And of course, he took it long, went straight to a Fulham defender. And at this point, so much the team had pushed up to try to get that winning goal that they had a 3-on-1 break. And there was nothing we could do at that point, you know. Enzo trying to track back. Caicedo were trying to track back, but I think at that point they were pretty gassed. So, yeah. And of course, Raul Jimenez wasn't going to miss from the middle of the box. Good goal, but overall, so disappointing. And then even Harry Winter's goal was disappointing on our end. The ball kind of just bouncing all over the place. You know, Pedro Neto was trying to cover Iwobi. He tried to make himself big, put himself in front of him. He was trying to get like a head injury. Should the ref have stopped if he thought it was a head injury? Maybe. But I thought it was a pretty weak attempt by Neto to stop him. He kind of just got pushed out of the way. And unfortunately, Iwobi's shoulder was nowhere near his face. So he, you know, tried to buy that foul. It would have been a frustrating foul to give away from Fulham's end. But, you know, I think, to be fair, I think the ref did a good job letting the play continue. It is what it is. And then the ball just kind of bounced around and nobody was marking Harry Winter in the back post again. And it just went in. Overall, super disappointing. We could have won this game just 1-0. Just kept a clean sheet, you know, defensively solid. But, you know, little mistakes here and there. And just having a young team that's inexperienced and not knowing how to really close out a game. You know, the last thing you want to do is to give up 3 points in a position like this when we're chasing for the title. We can live with a tie. It sucks, but we can live with it. But losing a game like that is just such a kick in the nuts. It sucks. Now, I do think for the first time this season, we came out second half looking way worse. I don't know what happened second half where the game plan didn't really change, but everyone just looked heavy. Like we looked like we were thinking about things a little bit too much, playing slowly, being a little bit too cautious. You know, like I said, there were several good chances where Palmer had enough room to pass it to Jackson. And then he just checked his pass or checked his run and wanted to slow the games down. And that's fine if the whole team is trying to do that. But I don't know. I just felt like it was a wrong time. 1-0. You know, West London derby is never safe. You know, we need at least 2 goals to feel safe from a comeback like today. And yeah, and then I felt like Maresca, for the second game in a row, could have made changes sooner. And he chose to leave the game or leave the team on that he chose from the beginning, for better or for worse. And today, I just don't think it worked out that well. I felt like by like 60 minutes, Neto was just completely gassed on that right side, having to make those sprints. We had fresh legs on the bench. We had Madueke ready to come on. You know, we had João Felix again. Where's João Felix? You know, we keep talking about Cole Palmer being marked out of the game. I think if João Felix were on there helping out, then we can't really mark Palmer out because we have another player who's very similar. And to be fair to João Felix, the last time he played, he worked really hard in tracking back and defending. So I don't really think you can use that as an excuse for too much longer, saying that, oh, if we play all these attackers and no one's there to defend. It's true, but then in a game like this where it's so tight, where we started the second half on the back foot, you know, Fulham were clearly making the correct changes. They had more energy. They were winning the second balls. They were getting a lot of space in midfield to run, a lot of room on the flanks. I think making some changes made a lot of sense today. And unfortunately, we just didn't, and we paid the price for it. And another play that I thought was quite poor, Jackson, he did have several good, you know, controls of the ball and turns, but for the majority of the game, I mean, he had a lot of just unforced errors. You know, there was one run where all he needed to do was dribble, and it would have been a nice break, but then he dribbled way too hard and lost the ball. You know, just bad touch. There's several other times where he and Palmer just didn't really seem to be on the same page. You know, there was one time in the first half where Palmer was kind of free in the box. I felt like maybe he should have taken it with his right foot from a Neto cross. Instead, he gave it to Jackson, and Jackson, instead of hitting it, just weakly gave it back to Palmer, who then, you know, the play was essentially dead at that point, who kind of took a speculative shot towards the far corner with his left foot, and then just shot was too weak, went straight to the keeper. Right? I felt like there was some like indecisive moments there that were a little bit strange to see between those two, because they're usually so well connected. They're on the same page. They know when each other are going to make the runs. But yeah, it just seemed like today something was off. And then lastly, you know, games like this are the games you have to win and you have to grind out if you wanted to chase for the title. You know, if you had more experience, you would know to either slow the game down completely at the end, keep a good defensive shape so we can't get broken on, or you push hard for that second goal. You make the changes, get put on fresh legs, and you aim for that second goal, but then still have the ability to track back and defend well if we do end up losing the ball, you know? And I felt like we did neither. We didn't push for the second goal and we couldn't hold on to our 1-0 lead. And that just goes to show that the team is still young, it's inexperienced. Is it the end of the world? No, not at all. Because like a lot of people have said, including Maresca, like we're realistically not chasing for the title, right? We're just not. We're too young, we're too inexperienced. In games like today is a good example. Although I do think he needs to take some of the responsibility and the blame for not making changes, for not putting the team in a position to either save a point or go for the win. You know, like I said, I think we could have made changes today, and they just didn't happen. So overall, super disappointing. I was hoping for a nice Christmas gift after such a nice holiday break. Great time with family. It would have been just the cherry on top for us to win on Boxing Day, but unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be. But still, we have Ipswich coming up. We have still a lot of very winnable games from now until end of January. We're not out of it. I don't think Liverpool are going to go on the rest of the second half not dropping any points. You know, this is a season where teams are dropping points. So we just need to kind of recover from these last two games of disappointments and then keep moving on. You know, keep doing the same things in training, work hard. And yeah, and I think we can still be in it, or at least we can put some pressure on Liverpool still instead of just completely dropping off. So overall, very disappointed, but see you guys after the next game. Peace.